Shouldn't be too late back, Frank. About 6 o'clock.
As long as it takes. I only hope the horses are as good as you've heard they are.
Well, we're only after the best.
Bye, darling. Don't work too hard.
Oh, hardly. I've got a meeting with Alan Turner and the rest of the day's my own. Uh-oh. Maybe I spoke too soon. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Frank Tate. Oh, hello, Chris.
Thought you might like to have the latest on Tony Jarvis.
Why, what's he been up to?
Well, apparently not a lot since we sacked him. I did hear today that Smiths have taken him on.
Smith's Haulage?
Right. They obviously don't know why we let him go.
Of course they don't. We kept quiet about it.
I was wondering whether it was time to fill them in on a few details.
Or let them pay the consequences of employing a drug smuggler, you mean?
Well, exactly. If he does get up to his old tricks again, rebounds on them, could be good news for us. They're our biggest rival after all.
Can you think of any reason why we should do them a favour?
Not at all. I reckon they could just find out for themselves.
I've got a better idea. Can you come over at lunchtime? 1 o'clock-ish.
Fine.
I'll see you then.
Hey, Mark.
Hello, Joe. What brings you up here?
Oh, I just heard you might be looking for someone to make a cup of tea for.
Sit down. I'll put it on. Long way to come for a cup of tea. Sure there's nothing else on your mind?
Well, I promised Jack I'd look in on you. He reckoned you might tell me what he wants to know.
And what's that? Oh, don't tell me. Whether I'm going to Spain or not for Christmas.
Whether, when, if, and who with is the impression I got.
Well, I've told him, and I'll tell you. I might. And that's the top and bottom of it.
Come on, Ma, that's hardly fair. We've got to make our plans as well, you know.
If it's plans you wanted to make, you might think of the annual farm meeting. That comes on in a month or so.
Well, I can't see there'll be much to discuss at that. Besides, I'm not in a position to dictate, am I?
Well, you're forgetting I've got some say in what happens here.
Yeah, but if anything displeases you here, you can tell Jack any time.
Not if I'm in Spain, I can't.
How's a Christmas in Spain going to have a bearing on the running of this farm?
Who said anything about just Christmas?
Seth? What do you think you're doing here? Haven't you got any work to do?
Plenty, but for how long, that's the question, Mr. Turner.
Oh, I see.
It's bearing down on my mind. I can't concentrate for thinking about it.
Seth, now, Mrs. Feldman's in the same situation as you, isn't she?
Aye,
And what's more, her cottage is up for sale, is it not?
it is, Mr. Turner.
Well, you don't hear her going about moaning all over the place.
No,
Precisely.
and that's because she's so distressed she can't bear to talk about it.
Nonsense, Seth. She's a very stoic woman who takes these things in her stride. You should take a leaf out of her book.
That's easy enough for you to say, Mr. Turner.
Seth, will you please get on with the work that I pay you to do?
Can't.
Why not?
It's my lunch hour.
When I came home at lunchtime, it was there. So I thought I'd better come straight round.
From Elsa.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you came round. And I'm glad you brought Alice round, too.
Do you want me to read it to you? Well, there's a bit about work, and then it says, I find the visits from Alice very difficult to come to terms with, and I'm sure they unsettle her a great deal.
I don't suppose it can be easy for either of them.
I don't want to be responsible for any more damage than I've already caused, so I think it's best for everybody if I don't see Alice again until she's old enough to understand the situation fully.
She could be in for a long wait.
There's something else, though, Elizabeth.
There's no need.
Eh?
I know what you're going to say.
I've not got to it yet.
I know. Elsa's not coming to my wedding. I had a letter from her this morning, too.
Well, now I'm letting the fish farm go, I feel quite nostalgic about it.
Ah, don't worry, Alan. It's in safe hands.
You will bear in mind those conditions I asked you for, won't you?
Of course. I wouldn't want anybody to manage the place but Elizabeth Feldman.
Yeah, and Seth as part-time helper.
Agreed. And that's it?
Yes, I think so. Well, it's a pleasure doing business with you, Frank.
Likewise, Alan. There is just, one thing.
Yeah?
I'd appreciate it if you kept it under wraps until my solicitor's drawn up the new contracts. I've had a lot of experience in the past of deals falling through after an announcement's been made.
Yes, I do understand.
Also, I'd like to break the news to Elizabeth Feldman myself.
Well, she is very anxious to know the outcome. I was looking forward to things.
I have a proposal I want to put to her, which might benefit both of us. I'd rather I told her.
No, well, you won't keep her waiting too long, will you? And the same applies to Seth. I do owe them both that much.
You have my word. As soon as I'm able, I'll let them both know.
I don't know how she can do this.
No, she's got a point, though. Alex has been unsettled since she came back from holiday with her.
I know. It just seems such a drastic step to take.
It's probably for the best, though.
Oh, perhaps you're right. I don't know.
I'm just, sorry she won't be at your wedding. If there's anything I can do, Elizabeth.
There is. I've been thinking about this for some time.
What's that?
I'd like you to give me away on the day.
Shouldn't Michael be doing that?
Strictly speaking, yes. Oh, and I'm sure he'd go through the motions, but I don't want that. I want people with me there on the day who are glad for me.
Have you thought this through?
It's not a snap decision. I'm sure about it. I want you to do it.
Well, I'd be honoured.
Thank you. Just give me time to tell Michael before you mention it to anyone else. I owe him that. Alice! Oh, Nick, I shouldn't have left her there.
Oh, no, look, she's cut her head.
What, badly?
No, you're all right.
Stay still, no, stay still. Let me see.
All right, here, shh.
Oh, no. Nick, I don't like the look of that.
Oh, look, she'll be all right. Come on, it's probably the shock.
No, we ought to get it seen to.
Well, you found somebody then, and I'll go put a cold bandage on.
Oh, no, listen, tell you what. Look, wrap her up. I'll get Alan's Range Rover and we'll take her to Hot
There's
Gem.
no point. He's gone out, so I'm leaving as I arrived.
Eric.
Why didn't we shop Jarvis to the police when we discovered what he was up to?
That would have been shooting ourselves in the foot. Our lorries would have been stopped at every port in the country as a matter of routine.
Exactly.
I don't quite see what you're getting at, Dad.
You're quite sure Smiths have taken him on?
Sure, I'm sure. Look, what is this?
Sometimes I despair. You want me to spell it out?
Yeah, afraid so.
Well, like you just said, every lorry will be stopped at every port. Every Smith's lorry, that is. Jarvis doesn't work for us anymore.
But the authorities don't know about Jarvis.
No, not yet. But if I was the police, I'd be very interested in Mr. Jarvis's name and address, especially if the person who gave me that information also hinted at his illegal activities.
You devious old devil.
The Seffies have no intelligence, but that lot up at farm know they're up for sale.
But they'd be up for sale anyway, Seth. I mean, it's not the idea.
Ah, but this is different. They're unsettled just like I am.
Seth, can't you change the record?
It's not a record I like, Mr. Turner, but I can't help singing it.
What are you doing here?
I'm looking for Lynn.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't allow you on my premises.
Lorraine, I thought I saw you. Come through.
Lynn, I've told you before, I do not want troublemakers on my premises.
I asked her to come, Alan. I need some help.
Then I suggest you employ somebody. We've agreed that staffing should be your concern.
We did, didn't we?
I'll have another pint, love.
Right.
Seth, I make it 1:30. Don't you think you ought to be getting off?
I'm trying to force myself, Mr. Turner. You think that I don't want to go back to work? But what's the point? Job might not be there much longer. And I can't help thinking, what if it's else game farm and all? That'd be the end of me.
I must say, Seth, I shall miss seeing you up there.
What are you trying to tell me, Mr. Turner? I'll not be wanted anymore.
No, you old goat. I'm trying to say I'm sorry. I really shouldn't have put you through all this these last few days. You deserve better than that. And for all you've done up at the fish farm, I'm trying to say thanks.
I am getting pushed then.
Seth, you are impossible.
Do you reckon the owner might keep me on?
I shouldn't worry on that concern.
Is that a yes or a no?
Seth, we've known each other for many years, haven't we? I'm just asking you to trust me.
Right, Mr. Turner. I think I get your drift. I'll be getting off. And it'll not be the same way like you up there.
We got to make it sound convincing. Otherwise, they'll think it's just a hoax and take no action at all.
But what do we say?
That we have information about a certain person who we know is dealing in drugs. Well, he did admit it, didn't he?
Well, absolutely. Wouldn't have sacked him otherwise.
There we are. He's going to get what he deserves.
Right. You know, if this does work and the police act on it, we could be quids in. Smiths have got some big contracts.
Ah, yeah, but we're not interested in the professional rewards. No. We're performing a public duty.
Yes, I believe you, Dad.
Well, Oh, that's what we're going to say if it ever comes out that we set up one of our business rivals.
But it's not going to get out, though, ever.
Even if it does, we're not going to lose out.
Well, we better be careful. Don't the police have voice print equipment?
You've been watching too many James Bond films.
Well, as long as you're sure, you're the one taking the risk.
What do you mean?
You're making the call.
No, I'm not. You are.
Sorry, I'm already late for a meeting.
You've got a cheek. You're the one who's running the company. This is your responsibility.
Never get your own hands dirty. First thing you taught me.
Well, I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Yeah, see you later. Oh, and Dad, disguise your voice if I was you.
Sit down. I'll put the kettle on.
Don't have time, look. I've got to get Alice back to Archie. He'll be worried. And I've got to get back to work.
Nick, sit down. Frank Takes Well would not come to an end just because you missed work. It couldn't be avoided.
No, I suppose not. You all right now, Alice? Hey? All right?
I think we did the right thing.
Yeah, thanks for coming to the rescue, Eric. To be honest, I don't know what we'd have done without you.
Well, if you ever need me in an emergency again, you've got my telephone number. Just give us a ring, eh? Make that tea.
He's a good bloke.
I know. It's just a pity others can't see it.
Oh, they'll come round in the end. Just need a bit of time, that's all. Who's his best man?
Good question. He hasn't decided yet.
All right. Are you sure? Well, sure you want me to give you away?
My daughter may not be there. My son may not want to be there. But I want to see my granddaughter. And yes, I do want you to give me away. Does that answer your question?
Well, that really was a most pleasant day.
Yes, pity about the horses.
Ah, well, nothing's perfect.
Yes, that's right. Jarvis. Tony Jarvis. No, I don't wish to say anything else. No, I don't wish to give my name either. Thank you. Goodbye.
Well, can I get some tea, coffee, drink?
Hi.
Oh, hello.
Have a good day.
Well, horsewise, not really, no.
But we had a nice lunch.
I really must check my contacts as far as horse sales go. Well, I know the standard was going to be so low, we wouldn't have bothered.
Oh, come on. I enjoyed the day. It wasn't a total waste of time.
Your wife tells the most dire jokes.
Thank you. So what's been happening here?
I had a good meeting with Alan Turner. Chris came over for lunch. Nothing much else.
Oh, so who was that on the phone?
Oh, nobody you know. You will stay and have a drink, won't you, Neil?
Yes, thank you.
Well, the impression I got when I saw her earlier today is that she definitely knows something that we don't, but she ain't letting on.
Well, we gathered that ourselves.
But what I want to know is why isn't she telling us?
Perhaps we should leave her to get on with it, and maybe she'll let us know in her own time.
Well, if there is a bloke on the scene, I'd just as soon know about it.
Let's look at what we know. She's thinking of going to Spain for Christmas.
Longer.
Longer?
She hinted longer. That's the message I got.
And now that might tie in with why she keeps getting Robert to question us about being married.
I don't follow.
Well, don't you see? It's as if she's trying to make sure she doesn't leave any loose ends behind. I mean, if we did get married, that'd be one little parcel neatly done up. One less thing to worry about when she's away.
Yeah, and the business of wanting a proper meeting at the farm to work out her future involvement in it. Oh, yeah. She's got plans, all right. She hasn't letting us know.
I think she's entitled to make whatever plans she likes. But it would be nice to know where we stand.
Maybe we should get in touch with Amos. I mean, he's the one who's invited her to go.
Amos? He won't be any the wiser than us.
You sure you want me to help?
Of course I do, if you want to.
Don't mind, something to do. I can come in every day if you want.
See how it goes, eh?
Nights as well, I like keeping busy. And there's loads of different people.
It's mainly on the food I'm going to need a hand.
Great, I don't mind that.
But right this minute, you can polish some glasses.
You've got a little boy, haven't you? What's his name?
Peter. He's 2.
I like kids. I want 4 when I get married.
One's enough for me. Have you heard from your mum since she's been away?
Lorraine? Is there anything else I can do?
Lorraine, didn't you hear what I said?
Yeah. These polished enough?
Well, the question is, how long do we let it go on like this?
If she is romantically involved, and I say if,
There's no doubt about it.
then she'll want us to know eventually anyway.
We need to know now. We're a family.
I agreed terms with Alan Turner today
Frank, that's great news.
for the sale of the fish farm.
Congratulations.
Well, it's got a lot of potential for growth, but I also happen to think it might make a valuable contribution to the model farm.
I can certainly see it fitting in nicely with the plans we already have. When can we have a look at it?
One day next week. Also, I want you to meet the present manager there, Elizabeth Feldman.
Any particular reason?
Only that she's a thoroughly honest and efficient woman.
I've been driving all over the moors with one of those today.
But this one, I think, would make an excellent manager for the model farm. She comes from farming stock, she's reliable, and she's experienced.
I look forward to meeting her.
Good. I'll arrange that. Then you can form your own opinion.
I'd be happy to be guided by yours, Frank. Cheers.
Cheers.
She can't treat us like this.
Didn't you do the same thing to her, Jack?
What do you mean?
Well, you used to fly off to Italy at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, and come back at the drop of another hat.
That was a long time ago. And anyway, this isn't about me. It's about Ma.
Yeah, you're right. Another drink?
Don't you think we ought to decide what we're going to do first?
Well, what can we do? Apart from march down there and demand that she comes clean with us.
Well, I'm game.
What?
If that's what it takes.
Hang on. This is Ma we're talking about. Nobody marches in and demands anything of Ma.
But I'm not saying we go in and pound the table or anything. Just to put it to her that for everybody's sake, we need to know where we stand.
Jack?
Well, I think she's enjoyed stringing us along. But there comes a time when the kidding has to stop.
You're right. Let's get it over with.
You're right. What's it going like in there? Went in?
More than in here. Nicer atmosphere.
Come on, I need you next door.
Young kids these days, they've no manners.
Eric? Helen? Whiskey, please, and a vodka tonic for Elizabeth. She'll be over in a minute.
Wedding plan's going okay. It's not long now, is it?
No, not long at all.
Are you going away on honeymoon?
We hope to. Still one or two problems to iron out.
Oh, nothing too serious, I hope.
No, nothing too serious at all. Ah, thank you, old boy. And, have one yourself, eh?
Well, that's very kind.
Make it a large one.
Well, that's decent of you, Eric. Very decent indeed. Your good health.
And yours, old boy. I'd like to think we can still play the amigo, despite our differences.
Yes, you're quite right, Eric. We really shouldn't let business get in the way of no friendship, should we?
Right. Actually, it's a matter of friendship that brings me here.
What can I do to help?
Could I have a word?
Yes, go on.
We've been friends for a long time now, and I'd like to make a request.
Oh, yes?
The wedding. Of course, you don't have to say yes. You can say no if you so wish.
Why don't you try asking the question, Eric?
Right. Would you care to be my best man at the wedding?
I must say, that's something of a surprise.
But you will.
Well, it is a role I'm familiar with, of course.
Yes, of course, but, well, what do you say?
I would be delighted, Eric.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Well, if it's first to speak loses, I'm just lost.
We want to talk to you, Ma.
You know where your mouths are.
We want you to tell us exactly what you plan to do.
Exactly.
More or less.
Well, which is it to be? You can't have both.
Oh, come on, be reasonable, Ma. We've never seen you this way before. You've always known what you were doing, where you're at. We could always rely on you.
Perhaps it's time you stopped taking me for granted.
We're not. We just want to know what your plans are.
Welcome to the club.
You mean you haven't made up your mind yet?
I mean, I don't know. And I know you think I'm making that up.
We get the impression that you have bigger plans than just going to Spain for Christmas. And we think you ought to let us in on them.
I've been invited. I enjoyed myself last year, and I'm considering going for longer this year.
As long as we know that.
On the other hand, it would mean I should miss you all, and I don't think I could bear that.
Just tell us one thing. How important is it that you go?
When you get to my age, Joe, opportunities to do something new with your life don't come round that often.
I'm just as confused as I was when I came in. Do you want us to help you decide?
No, I can make up my own mind.
Well, look, I'm sorry, Ma, but that's just what you're not doing. Now, we want you to stop playing games and make a decision.
Here comes the bride.
Oh, darling. Alan has agreed to be my best man.
Thank you. I'm sure Eric knows what he's doing.
Well, you can rely on me, Elizabeth. You know that.
And the sale? Can we rely on anything in that direction?
Well, there's nothing I can tell you about that, I'm afraid.
Oh, come on, old man. There must be something.
But just give it time. It'll all be all right.
Time is the one thing we don't have. Now, if you know something...
We are entitled to know. You said yourself, friendship is more important than business.
Well, there's nothing that I can tell you.
Not even as our best man.
Eric, you're making this very difficult. My advice to you is just don't worry.
Oh, it's rather naive, isn't it? You've obviously never had your home and livelihood hang in a balance.
Why do I get the feeling you're not being entirely honest with us?
I am a man of my word, Elizabeth. You ought to know that.
And you promised us you'd let us know just as soon as you found a buyer.
Well, that was my intention.
Was? You mean the sale has been agreed?
Well,
And you never said anything.
Look, please, just be patient. Another couple of days.
Looking for a better deal, is that it?
No, of course not.
Selling to the highest bidder, waiting for someone to stick some more measly pounds on top while Elizabeth worries herself ragged.
No, it wasn't anything like that.
I've forgotten what a sneak you could be.
I take exception to that remark, Eric.
And to think I asked you to be my best man.
Well, it may please you to know that I withdraw the offer of my services as from now.
Good.
You shouldn't have said that, Jack.
I said what I felt. Ma's brought us up to do that.
Yeah, we've got to know where we stand, Sarah.
I think she was about to let us in on it, man, friend and all. The last thing she needed was a demand.
She's got to learn that she can't play games with us.
Games, is it? Sometimes I wonder if I'm living on the same planet as you two. Oh, I can see exactly what's happened. I'm getting in the way of any plans you might make.
You're not getting in the way.
Be quiet when I'm talking. It's a pity neither of you anything better to think of than yourselves. Have you ever thought what I might want? Or doesn't that count? Not once have either of you asked what I might like to see. I don't just mean Christmas. It's as though old women shouldn't have any hopes or ambitions.
That's not fair, Ma. We have been trying to find out.
Only in as much as it concerns you. And that's selfish, Jack. Selfish, and I'm ashamed of you. As it happens, I do have a few things to decide. Quite important things in my book. I'm going to take all the time I need to think things over. And not you or anybody else is going to bully me into making the wrong decision. Is that understood?